Let's talk about something that's on every immigrant's mind these days as what's next for Canada. We all know that Canada has been a top destination for immigrants for years, offering opportunities, safety, and a fresh start. That includes me. But right now, things are a little different. With rising immigration issues, stricter policies, and a lot more competition, it feels like the game is changing. You've been wondering how all these changes might impact your future in Canada, whether you're planning to move already here or just curious about the situation, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving deep into where Canada is headed with immigration and what it means for you. Let's break it down together. Hey everyone, welcome to Grit Tales. My name is Gautam Tulugu and thank you for watching my channel. If you haven't watched any of my previous videos, I try to bring in content related to HR, careers, life in Canada, and much more beyond that. Your journey, my story. So what exactly is going on? Why does it feel like immigration to Canada is suddenly so much more complicated? To really understand, we need to look back a few years. You see, just a few years ago, Canada was rolling out the red carpet for immigrants. The government had these ambitious targets like bringing in over 400,000 newcomers annually. And that was fantastic news for people from all over the world, especially those looking for a better life, stable jobs, and a secure environment. A lot of immigration consultants also did rely on this news to get more business. I remember how welcoming things felt when I first arrived, and I know many of you felt that too. And fast forward to today, and suddenly the conversation feels so different. You've got stricter visa policies, longer processing times, and even more competition for those limited spots. And it's not just the federal policies, either the provinces are getting pickier about who they invite under the provincial nomination programs. If you've been applying for express entry or a work permit, you know exactly what I mean. It's like waiting for a golden ticket, right? I recently spoke to a friend who applied for express entry back in 2020. Back then, the scores were low and people were getting invited left and right. But now, they've got a higher score than they did before, but still haven't received that ITA. It's frustrating, isn't it? Seeing your profile stay in the pool for months, even years, while the rules keep shifting. Let's understand why immigration has become so much harder. Well, the reasons are a bit complex, but let's break them down into some key points. First up, the economy. With inflation rising, housing shortages, and increasing competition in the job market, Canada has had to slow down a bit. Think about it. When the cost of living is high and even citizens are struggling to find affordable housing, how do you manage a huge influx of newcomers into the country? Plus, the ripple effects of global events like the COVID-19 pandemic still haven't fully settled. The pandemic made us realize just how interconnected our economies are, but it also created challenges. Canada had to balance attracting skilled workers while ensuring job opportunities for the people already living in this country. Another shift we are seeing is where the focus lies. Canada is moving more towards skills-based approach, like prioritizing those who can fill the labor shortages and boost the economy quickly. It's great if you are a tech professional or a healthcare worker, but what if your skills don't fit into one of those in-demand categories? I remember chatting with someone who had years of experience in the creative arts. They had built a portfolio that was truly impressive, but before their field was not listed under in-demand, they kept hitting roadblocks. They kept asking, where do I fit into this new system? There's also the question of public sentiment. With more people voicing concerns about the strain on infrastructure and services, the government is under immense pressure to take a more cautious approach. It's not that people are against immigration, it's more about finding the right balance to ensure that both the newcomers and those who have been here for years can succeed. Okay, so that's a lot of information, but what does it mean exactly for you, the person who is looking to make Canada home? Whether you are an international student, a skilled worker, or someone waiting to reunite with family, the situation can feel absolutely overwhelming. From my perspective, here's what you should consider. The first and foremost is you have to be strategic about your applications, where the days are gone where you could just apply and hope for the best. Now it's about your strategy. You need to understand which provinces align with your skills, what their nomination criteria has been, and how you can position yourself as a top candidate. For example, Ontario might be great if you are in technology, but Alberta could be more welcoming if you are in construction or agriculture related fields. It's all about playing to your strengths and understanding where you fit best. And immigration rules have been rapidly changing, so that's why staying updated is crucial. Follow the latest news, join immigration forums, and even reach out to the authorized consultants if you can. It's like preparing for a job interview. You need to know what's expected and how to present yourself. And hey, if you're feeling overwhelmed, you're not alone. I have had days where it felt like I was reading through endless policy updates, wondering if my application would ever go through. But that's the reality, right? You got to stay on top of the game. And one thing that often gets overlooked in this journey is community. When you're navigating a new country's immigration process, having people who can share their experiences, offer advice, or just lend an ear can make all the difference. And I met someone who moved to Canada as an international student. They struggled with their study permit, faced delays, and felt like they were constantly catching up with all the changes that are going on. But they joined a local newcomer support group and suddenly things became a bit more manageable. They got advice on how to extend their visa, found a mentor, or even landed a part-time job through the connections they were able to build. Building your network isn't just about finding job leads, it's about building a support system that understands the challenges you are facing. And with Canada's current immigration climate being what it is, that sense of community can be your biggest asset. So looking forward, where does all of this leave us? Is Canada closing its doors or is this just a temporary shift? Well, if you ask me on this, I don't think Canada is shutting down its welcome mat entirely. It's more about redefining the terms of who gets to come in and why do they come in. Canada is still a land of opportunities, but it's also trying to balance those opportunities with the realities on the ground. It's always good to pause and reflect and restart. We might see more emphasis on regional immigration, encouraging newcomers to settle outside major cities like Toronto, Vancouver, and Calgary to spread out the population, or perhaps a bigger push towards technology, healthcare, and green jobs as the economy evolves. Think of it like a relationship. When you first start dating someone, it's all about excitement and new experiences. But eventually things get more serious and you start thinking about what you need to make it work long term. Canada is in that phase right now, figuring out how to make immigration more sustainable. So what should you do with all this information? Here's my advice. Don't get discouraged. Use this time to focus on upskilling, building connections, and positioning yourself strategically. Canada might be changing, but there's still room for those who are prepared and willing to adapt. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to hit the subscribe button because I'll be sharing more insights into the Canadian job market, immigration tips, and everything you need to navigate this journey. And drop a comment below, what's your biggest challenge right now with Canadian immigration? Well, I'm not an immigration consultant, but certainly I can share my experiences and I can show you some direction. And I would love to hear your thoughts, and who knows, your question might just inspire the next video. And thank you for watching Grit Tales.